I've invited you to participate in, man, is this, space. Let's just call it a space that we've opened up. It's a combination of a few things, and it's not what it's yet to become, but it will get there. But we refer to it as a podcast. That's the current term everyone's using, podcasts, they're doing podcasts. But I refer to it as talking slop.
I saw that.
All right.
I like it.
Okay, so it comes from, me. I'm rolling on the funk mothership at the moment, and I'm rolling with George Clinton and Bootsy Collins and those brothers, and I've been tapping into the funk and into the slop, the cosmic slop, via the funk music, and often bring me to that space, and the slop also refers to the ship, so the show, in English terms, we call it talking shit. And to my funk brothers and sisters, we talk slop.
Yes.
And I say that simply because I know you know about the plants, you know about the soil too. And we know how important shit is as food growers, farmyard manure. If I lost you, you back? You there, okay?
I'm here. I think it's kind of glitching, but I can hear you okay.
Oh, we do what we can do. So,
where's your box? Your internet box. Is it in the store? Right here. With the wind. Oh, right here? Okay. Sorry, the brother's finding me a better spot. Thank you, babe. All right. Yes. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. It looks better. Everything, it seems better.
I miss Baba!
I know, sis. We're gonna, oh man. See, I don't know whether to start. I want to just rap with you, and that's what this is all about, just rapping, man. So if anything comes up that you don't want us to put online and make available to the public, that's fine. But this whole thing is talking shit, talking slop, because out of that, in my experience, divine things come out of that, and have come out of that in the past when I talk shit with people, man. And although I can present and do all the articulate stuff, I like talking shit with my homies, man, because, we never know what comes out of it by the end of the night. And, some amazing exchanges have taken place. So with this, there's no formula, there's no structure, there's no, I have no agenda, I have no premeditated questions or anything like that. It's just really rapping with people who, one, I'm inspired by, I've worked with, I want to build with, I'm engaged with in some way. As you know, just creating platforms so we can do that, man. And this is something I've been talking with Baba about previously, just about how we can raise our game and making sure we spread the spores and get the knowledge out there and, make sure that we're taken care of in the here and now as well as the future. And it was utilizing the technology, as well as doing conferences. We were talking about festivals, we were talking about podcasts and, just being present, being present and being proactive in the work that we're doing. So I'm aware that you're a big part of that and have been and continue to be. So I wanted to create that space because actually my first plan was to do my first interview with Baba. That was the goal, that I was going to do this with Baba. I was going to line it up, come in August to Detroit and stuff, do the conference and stuff, and just get some content together and start building on this. But shit's happened. So with that said, I've just fast-tracked some of my agendas, and this is part of it, just connecting with the family, connecting with the people he connected me with, and making sure we keep things aligned accordingly, and just allow them to happen organically too. So I just wanted to open up that conversation and dialogue with you, but I wanted to make it available to the world, because I know when we all, when we get down, we get down, you know what I'm saying? And rather than just me and you talk shit, we're gonna talk shit. And eventually, not even eventually, I spoke with Moodoo the other day, and some of the others on, on the Detroit side of town. And hopefully we can get a space where we're all here, we've got all the screens up and we're all here just doing our thing. So, but I just wanted to make things happen regardless. So that's what this is all about, sis, man. What this is all about.
Yeah, I appreciate it because what I found too with coming to London, and you know me and the public speaking thing there, you know, I have my issues, but what I found is that I was trying to make it fit into some kind of script or what I thought people wanted to hear. But like
Mm.
you say, the talking shit and speaking your truth is how you get it out. You
Yeah,
know
man.
what I'm saying? In its pure form, or even when you're channeling from other places, it's like you can't. So I appreciate you in this space for sure.
Cool, man. Back at you. So the only one thing I do have in line, just so we're all on the same page and everybody knows who we're dealing with, it just makes sense that you introduce yourself officially, who you are, what you do, and then I'll jump on the back of that, and then we'll just open up the conversation. There's a few things would like to touch on still, but yeah, who are you, sis? What do you bring to the table?
Okay. You you want me to start now or wait until you say go?
Yeah, now go for it, man. Yeah, ready when you are, man.
So it's already on?
It's already on. We're recording. We're live, man. We're not live to the world. It's pre-recorded, then it will go out live. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but we're rolling.
Well, I'm Omolewa. I'm the Entheogenic Midwife. I'm an overall healer and intuitive. Um, I am a doula. I'm a midwives assistant. I'm a placenta alchemist. I garden. I farm. Overall, I serve others, and I serve the great Mother Earth that we walk upon here. So just kind of being in service through healing, through sacred plant medicine and ceremony, and ushering in life, birth, resurrection. You know.
Nice, thank you for sharing. So I can tell you now, yeah, I don't know how much time you've got there, but this could be a long one. Or alternatively, I'll just like for you to commit to doing some follow-ups with me because you've just gone through a range of different accolades, skills, and trades that you have there. And yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot to go into, man. There's a lot to explore if you're willing to explore. But yeah, man, let's just see how we go and what we can cover today, what we cover today, just see what I want.
Okay. Listen to you.
Yeah, remember I'm from London, innit? So we have a large Caribbean Jamaican community. Most of our street slang is Jamaican / American slang. So you know, I grew up listening to back reggae music. We called it ragga back in the days, ragga music, bashment music. So you know, I'm really
Mhm.
familiar with Jamaica. Uh, So great, man. So Sish, there's a lot there, man. There's a lot there as far as what you bring to the table, man, and who you are. And I know that's still just a small aspect. And what I'd like to do is, well, what I have been doing is basically been going into the fact that there's some people that I've been talking with that I've known for years, some people that I've known for a handful of years, some people actually don't know. I just know them through the circuit. They've inspired me, and I've connected with them in different ways. But what I don't want it to be, regardless of who I conversate with, is like an interview thing. I don't know how often you do interviews, you know, and you know the celebrity status that you may have around the world, you know,
Yeah,
when they
right.
call you. But yeah, it's not that in it. It's not going to be one of those kind of things, you know. So like, what I do want to look at is like some more intimate, personal things, our stories, our journeys, because what I've discovered, especially at Breaking Convention yourself, Ayana, Kai when she landed, Akuya who presented, she's from the UK who presented last year. I'm highlighting the sisters in particular that I've worked with, I've brought to the Breaking Convention and have shed and spread their spores. Um, it's been life-changing experiences for many people. I still don't think you would know the impact that you had at that conference on people that were there and the feedback that I still get to this day. People ask me, well, when are you coming back? And, you know, when are you doing something like that again? Today, another lady, she brought up when when we done the grassroots thing, when we was inside, you know,
Yeah.
the community, you know, in the hood, man, we was in the hood with the people, you know, like to this day, people still come back to me and are like, shit, man, that was some real powerful stuff simply because that's not what's you know that's not on the circuit, you know, that's not what was being
Yeah.
shared, and what's being shared isn't what's on the circuit. So I want to make sure that is coming out and not just the usual things that would be asked of, you know, a psychedelic researcher or, you know, an entheogenic
Yeah.
midwife. That's not, you know, that's not a term that I hear. So I've only heard it once and I only know one person with that title. So I'm bringing
Baba
this,
gave me that name.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All
that
right.
was from him.
So we're definitely going to get to bubble. We cannot go through this, because that's how we're connected.
I know.
I know, but we're going to start with you, man. We're going to start with you, man. And
Yeah.
just where in the world are you from? Because it sounds, well, I know you're in Jamaica. It doesn't sound like you've got a traditional Jamaican accent. So where are you from in the world? How did you get to, a point where, what I'm trying to find out, how did you get to a point where you now go around the world, at least, talking about psychedelics? So we want to
I
just follow that. So
know.
we're gonna fast track it. I know there's loads of detail and contact, but that's the kind of journey I want to explore. From that little girl growing up, where and to the point where, because I know growing up where I'm from in my community, psychedelics wasn't a topic or a subject matter I spoke about much. Wasn't brought to me growing up. There were certain transitions, certain things that took place that got me to there. So I want to explore some of that with you as well, because I don't really know that side of your story either.
Well, I grew up in a small town, Mount Clemens, Michigan, maybe 20, 30 minutes or so outside of Detroit. Um, Grew up pretty much, my mother was pretty much a victim of domestic violence with my father. I'm an 80s baby, so we came around during the crack era, through the so-called war on drugs that took a lot of our relatives away, affected our homes and our communities in a major way. We're still, suffering the aftershock, of those occurrences that have happened in history. So just growing up, I always had this prayer. Once I got a little earlier, or this affirmation out into the universe that I wanted to be a better woman, a better healer, a better daughter, and I met my daughter's father and moved to Detroit for 3 years, and it was like a shock just to see the state of the community and people and the zombies walking around and the churches on every corner, the liquor stores on every corner. And I spoke out to the universe, like, what's wrong with these people? And it was almost like someone was waiting on me to ask. It immediately sent me through the birth portal. So I became a doula and was able to see how just the culture around birth, or lack thereof for people of color, the lack of breastfeeding in the communities, many of the fathers being out of the home before the children are sometimes even born or before they're 2 years old. So just seeing the effects of trauma, on the womb, on the Black woman, man, and child. And from there, I was also introduced to plant medicine. So all of that, learning more about my African culture and things that were significant missing components for our history. Again, I was introduced to plant medicine, and it's been just an interesting ride from there, holding space for mothers and families, serving them, that portal to the spirit realm that we also enter into when we take the sacred plant medicine. I just noticed that there were a lot of similarities, with the fear, with the transformation, with the joy, with having to surrender to this process. And I was just like, wow. So it's like I'm holding space for myself. I'm holding space for families. People begin to, I guess, notice the change in me and see the work and things that I was doing in the community. Dealing with the plant medicine activated me as a gardener and a farmer, and my garden began to flourish. I was growing cannabis for 3.5 years in Michigan. My plants began to communicate with me what they needed or what was wrong in certain things. And I was just like, this medicine is really, really a thing, what helped me to begin to process my emotions of growing up, having abandonment issues, not growing up with a father in the home, living in shelters and traveling around to get away from my father. So just seeing how the medicine began to, like, I observe a lot, so it was just, I began to see how the medicine began to work and heal and transform. And from there, like I say, with the mycelium, it just has branched out and began to connect me with people and places all over the world, even the ancestral realm. So I'm still every day in all of the magic and the power and the clarity that comes with this work and transforming lives,
Okay, cool. But let me ask you, you see coming up, because I know you're in your early 20s, mid-20s still, you're there or thereabouts.
No, I'm 39, Darren. Don't play.
Because what I would like to find out, because again, it's like, what was, you know, because now you're just like, yeah, I'm working with plant medicine, I'm doing this work, but coming up, you know, as a teen, for example, you know, what was the climate like with psychedelics, with plant medicine? Was you privy to this? You know, how did you view it, plant medicine, back in, you know, as a 16, 17-year-old, let's say?
Well, I remember a young man coming to my home, and, you know, I had a stepbrother, so he had friends, and he had this little plastic baggie, and he's like, Jen, you want some mushrooms? And I'm like, what's that? And he's like, you know, take the, I was like, man, that's white people shit, you know? So I just was like, I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Your brother was on it. You had a brother who was on it, yeah?
No, it was just a stepbrother in the home. So he had friends that were into different things, and I was just like, you know, no, that's white people shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was my take on mushrooms. If it wasn't weed, I just kind of kept it away, you know, because I didn't have any knowledge of it. So that was pretty much it as far as my introduction that way into mushrooms. I probably was 14, 15.
And you know, over the years before you partook for the first time, let's say, did it, you know, did the opportunity to experience that before come up again? Has it come up in other ways in your, you know, has it, you know, so for me, for example, you know, I've met people who've physically offered it, you know, and then, you know, on my search, my studies, it came up a lot, and it was something that I still kind of like, nah, this is not it, you know. It's attempted to get me a few times. That's the point. I'm like, so I want to know, is it just, you know, did you go from that teenager to you went through your transformation and you just was working with this partner?
Again, just that first introduction when I was younger, a teenager, and then once I got older, like with the massage therapy work, like people loved my work, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything special, you know. But I said, what if I could see trauma in the body? What if I could see pain or certain lights and colors within the body? Like, that would be great. So I went to this event, and Baba was there with his wives doing their thing. I didn't even really know Baba like that at the time. But, you know, Ayana, I talked to her about it, and she said, you know, I said, people love my work. What if I could see this and that? And she said, oh, honey, power plant. And I said, what? You know, she said, well, magic mushrooms. She said, and especially with you being a birth worker, like, yes, honey, this would be perfect for you. So I was like, okay. So I talked to a couple well-respected goddesses and elders in the community, and they said, yes, like, this is something you should do and explore, and it's wonderful. So I know if these sisters said it, it was something that I could definitely trust, you know. But one sister said, I recommend this book of Water and Spirit. You know, she said, don't rush the medicine, let it come to you, just chill, you know. So I said, okay, and I read this book, and I thought it was phenomenal, you know. So from there, I don't know if they told you this story. So I ended up getting my hands on some mushrooms, right? Mm-hmm. Mudu says he puts them in my hand. He puts his hands over my hands. He said, now, take your eyes straight home. Do not stop. Do not collect $200. Like, go straight home. I was like, okay. So as I'm leaving, I get a call to pick up some twin placentas from the hospital. So I go pick up these placentas. I'm doing my thing. I had smoked a little herb. I got pulled over by the police. In the most racist community, one of the most racist communities in Michigan, and sure enough, they took me out of the vehicle, they searched my car. I don't know anything about mushrooms, so I'm in the back seat of the car, and I just told the officer, look, I said, I am an amazing woman, I'm a mother, you know, I work with infants, I do breastfeeding, you know, I was like, you know, I have this nonprofit organization, like, I cannot go to jail tonight, you know, so they're searching my card, I know they're seeing placentas and business cards, and they let me go, wow. You know, he wrote me up a ticket, but he let me go, so, you know, they were looking at me sideways, like, how the hell did you get out of this without going to jail, you know, but I went to court, and the judge looks at me, and he looks at his paper. He's looking over his glasses. He said, I don't know who you are or what you believe in. He said, but you're supposed to be locked up right now. And whoever you pray to, you count the blessings. And he threw out the mushroom charge. And I just got charged for a little bit of cannabis that wasn't stored properly, locked in my trunk. Paid $250 when I went to court, and that was it. So it was like from that moment, I knew I was protected in this word. I knew there was this divine covering, and since then, I've walked in that power ever since. I said, oh, this is major here. So it took that situation to show me again the covering that I have with this work and the blessing and the anointing that I have with it, you know?
Nice, nice. And so there's two things that are coming out of that, because Bubba's coming through now, and it's like, yeah, we gotta go in some of that history there and the connections. But you know, that night, did you made it home that night? And
I made it home that night.
Okay. And did you partake in the package Moody gave you, or was that just?
You know, they took my package there.
No re-up. You didn't get a re-up. That's what I'm saying. No.
At that moment, no. It was a while before I got a re-up, but I got my re-up, and it ended up being on the 4th of July for my first time. It was like I had it. I was trying to set everything up, but one day it was just like, today is the day. So with that, I didn't think about the 4th of July or so-called Independence Day and the fireworks going off, cracking in the sky all night long. But that experience changed my life. You know, I probably cried for 3 hours straight, and, you know, saw some things as it relates to my mother and Black men in the community in ancient Egypt, and us, you know, falling from grace in certain things. It was just, it changed my life, Dan. It really did.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, because you're here talking with me, spreading the spores, and everybody I speak to, that's what, you know, it becomes evident that, you know, after the first experience of getting your first true breakthrough, let's say, the veil being, you know, there's no turning back, and there's no, you know, because I'm asking people, you know, why are you now committing your life to talking about this? You know, like people ask me, it's like, I don't know how this happened. You know, this wasn't the plan. You know, I was just gonna have a good night trying out these mushrooms, just navigate my psyche and, you know, see who I am and learn more. And the next thing I know, what, bang, you know, I'm out saying, "Go, you got to do this, man. This is, you know, this is, you know, fundamental to, you know, our existence." And and I know you're doing the same. So what, I know you shared some of that, but what, you know, what was it that was the catalyst for you to say, you know, I'm going back to this? And, you know, was it from that first night? Was it from that first experience, or not night, or that first experience, or, you know, did it take several experiences before you committed or pledged allegiance to the mushrooms?
Of the first experience. And like I said, with it being around the same time as tapping into birth work and just that whole portal, you know, so it resonated for me easier. And like I said, even with the crying, you know, I was born with a stiff upper lip, Darren, you know. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. So to go through those hours of purification, you know, so that's one of the main components that I stress with the psilocybin, is the spiritual cleanse that comes along with it. You know, the cries and the tears you've been holding on to for 30 years plus that need to come out. So it was just the weight that was lifted, you know, the clarity that I had, the things that I was able to see that I've never seen before. I'm not a dreamer. If I dream, I don't remember. Maybe quarterly, a dream peeks through. So another one of the benefits to psilocybin for me is to be conscious in that dream state. You know, so to sit and be present with those messages and downloads, you know. It's like a roller coaster. You just hold on to your seat and allow, you know.
I feel you, man. I feel you.